About a month ago, I opened a poll where you placed anything you wanted to say about OSC things. After 2 weeks, I ended up closing the results, and then I randomly selected 50 of the 387 responses that I got to read off and give my thoughts on. Keep in mind that if I selected yours, I may have slightly reworded it to improve readability. With that said, let's get into it. Okay, so BFB 25 wasn't that bad. Honestly, I kinda agree. I don't really care much for Postplate either way, but BFB 25 might be one of the most overhated episodes in the series, if not the entire OSC. Seriously, I really don't get the hate. I used to hate Ice Cube, like one of my bottom 4, but when Ice Cube got lines in Teapot 5 and beyond, I started to like her. So I'd say she's pretty good now that she's gotten new lines for the past 7 months worth of episodes. I agree with this one too, actually. The way they've given her more to do has endeared me to her somewhat. I also quite like her new voice, to be honest. The cake at steak place in Teapot. It was only used in Teapot 4 and then never showed up again. What happened to it? Why was it never used? Probably nothing big. I think it was just because it was the S's stage, so it made sense to go back to the hotel roof when they weren't the losing team next episode. Hi, Super Fun Time! My OSC confession is that I make comics. That's pretty cool. I wish you the best on your journey as a cartoonist. Can you please continue if BFB characters/hosts were charged for their crimes? To be honest, the reason I haven't made more of these is mostly down to a lack of motivation. Maybe someday I'll start making these again. Leafy is a great but also dislikable character, and Lightning is an underrated character. David is overrated, change my mind. I don't think I would consider David to be overrated. From what I've seen, he's one of the most hated characters. Lightning, on the other hand, definitely deserves more love. You know, sometimes I wonder whatever happened to obscure object show creators. They probably just made a random PowerPoint show. I wonder where they are now. Yeah, this is kind of a good question to ponder with any kind of one-hit wonder, not just within the confines of the OSC. Maybe I could do a video covering this topic sometime. Matt Pat. There's not much to this one, but that's just a theory. A game theory! What episode do you think Marker will be eliminated in Teapot? My best guess is that it'll happen sometime later in the season, probably after the merge, cause I don't think Death Pact Again's gonna lose again for a bit. What's your favorite Inanimate Insanity Invitational character? Definitely Yin Yang, they're great in that season. I'm starting to understand Clock more lately. I used to see him as a bland simp who screwed over his challenges for his team, but he isn't that. He was just used and forgotten by his team in BFB, and when he met his idol winner and wanted to be friends with him because he didn't have any, he just didn't simp to him. He wanted to start a friendship but didn't know how. Yeah, I do think this feels like a fairly realistic way to act when you're just starting out and trying to form a friendship. Especially when that friend is a former celebrity. I like cheese. I also like Cheesy in Inanimate Insanity Season 2. At least I assume that's what you're talking about. You don't understand what I said. No, I don't. Mostly because I don't even know what you said to begin with. Coiny winning BFDIA would make the most sense. I saw a post about this, but I forgot where, about how it would make sense that Coiny wins since he liked BFDIA, so he talks about it a lot, and Pin didn't like it due to not having limbs the whole time. When I say this, I'm thinking about Teapot 2 and BFB 6 specifically. Personally, my opinion on this is that it's his favorite season because it's when he became friends with Pin. You're definitely right about why Pin hates it though. There isn't really any other reason I can think of that she specifically would hate it. What are my favorite OSC YouTubers? Besides the main object show creators like Jack and Jellyfy and Animation Epic and stuff, I would say my favorites include people like Brown Scarf and Noobliss, though I admittedly don't watch much object show content outside of the shows themselves. I believe BFDIA will have 25 episodes, 2 rejoins in a Final 3 finale, or 1 rejoin, 1 debut in a Final 3 finale. Do I agree? Yeah, I kinda think it is reasonable to expect this. I think it would be 2 rejoins though, because the debut would be a massive retcon, unless BFDIA Continuing is an alternate timeline, which is a whole other can of worms. So I was wondering, how do you make and edit your videos? For recording, I either use OBS to record a PowerPoint with a voiceover, or use Windows 10's built-in voice recorder to get voice clips, like I did for this video. Then I use DaVinci Resolve to edit the videos together, and either PowerPoint or Krita to make the thumbnails. Krita is also what I use for Fight for Fingers. Can I please make a BFDIA prediction? Probably not. I kinda want to move away from prediction content. I feel it's a bit repetitive, plus, with BFDIA Continuing, it might be a bit difficult for me to keep up. Can I do more BFDI alternate scenarios, please? I probably will do this, especially with how well that video did. It's just a matter of coming up with more ideas. Which BFDI character do you hate the most? It's David, and by a long shot. He never really does anything, just says "aw seriously," and that gets old real quick. Whatever's on your mind. Quick question, why did you want me to say that? I think you misunderstood. Do you like watching BFDI YouTube poops? I do enjoy a good Beefy Die YTP from time to time, yes. Roboti is underrated. Roboti is a pretty good concept of a character since he can only speak in Morse code. That said, I don't really care for him that much. I'd put mayonnaise on my Woody plush because I thought it would be funny. The stain is still there. Is this a reference to the fact that Woody looks like a piece of bread in the show? Opinions on Bubble. She's my favorite BFDI contestant. She's nice. Season 1 is probably where she's at her best. She really hasn't had that much to do since then. How long have you been on your channel for? I created this channel back in May of 2021, so as of this video's release, 2 years and 8 months. Where did you get the idea to make Pennsylvania from Fight for Fingers? So, in Creepsington's show, Object Non-Interchangeableness, one of the characters is the American state of Tennessee, so I decided that I wanted to have a state in my show as well. I don't think Bot's arc from Inanimate Insanity was as good as people say it was, like a 7 out of 10 instead of a perfect 10. The whole clone veers into a character with no similarity to the original trope is overdone and could have been downplayed, and Bot has literally nothing in common with how they were at the start. I liked the intermediate stage of III 8 to 13 Bot more than the redesigned Bot, simply because the character felt like a hybrid and I liked that way more. Honestly, you're kinda right, but for what it's worth I do really like Bot's redesign. IDFB is the worst season TBH, it is just so dry. I respectfully disagree. I think it would have been good if it had lasted more than 1 episode, but it probably did a decent job of setting some things up, even if those things never got explored further. Who do you want to rejoin or think is rejoining? I think it'll be 1 or 2 of Remote, Fries, or Coiny who rejoins. My vote is going to Remote though. Can I buy bootleg BFDI and Inanimate Insanity plushes and rate them out of 10? Maybe sometime in the future, but not right now. Do you think Baby David from BFDI Mini Seriously is David's son, or a smaller variant of the species? Probably just a smaller variant. Why did Eggy do poorly in both Vote to Eliminate and Vote to Save? I actually kind of have a guess in mind with this chart I whipped together real quick. Eggy would go into the disliked category. When will the next episode of Fight for Fingers come out? As of this video, I haven't even begun writing it yet, as I've been seriously lacking in motivation to write it. Mini season for the Exiters. There actually is a fan-made season someone made with the Exiters, Battle of the Exiters by Branimator. That said, the newer episodes do use AI voices, and I'm not really a fan of that. Make Battle for Diamond! Nah, I don't think I will. Announcer was a better host than 4. It kinda depends what you mean by better. Personally, in terms of comedy, I prefer 4, but the announcer was definitely a more competent host. Lychee plus coconut. I don't think I follow on this one. I don't know of any shows that have both a lychee and a coconut. Balloon deserves to win Inanimate Insanity Invitational. I definitely agree with that. He's had it kind of rough, but he's come a long way since Season 1, and I think if any of the final 3 deserve to win, it's definitely him. If the Exiters get a chance to join Teapot, who would you want to join? I would say either Match or Lie. I'd also add Pencil, but she's still in BFDIA. No, TV is not a bad character. I think he's one of the best characters in Are You OK and a better name than that. I don't know if I'd go that far, but I do think he's gotten a lot better in Teapot. I used to not like him, but I've come around since he started doing more. When I was younger, I watched BFDI, and my parents tried to ban it since they said it was too violent. I can kinda see why they would, maybe, but I think if I was a parent, I'd much rather my child watch BFDI than, say, South Park, or even certain gross-out heavy children's shows. Foldy is the worst character to actually be on Teapot. Say what you want, but I've always hated Foldy since the start. She always seemed like the loser of free food, since all they do is just gloss over her, and that stupid scene with her and Flower in BFB 11 was just annoying. That's where my hatred for Foldy really started to grow even bigger, and I'm glad to see her go early. Foldy has a pleasant voice, but aside from that I never really cared for her that much. When do you think BFDIA 9 or Teapot 10 release? I've noticed a pattern where BFDIA and Teapot have been alternating month to month, which means BFDIA 9 is next, probably in January, then Teapot 10 in February, BFDIA 10 in March, and so on. Price Tag is a ripoff of Naily. I don't really think so. Teapot 7 is a good example of why that's not really the case. Leafy is better than Fiery in BFB. I definitely agree with this one. It's crazy how she did quite a bit more than Fiery in BFB despite being eliminated for half of pre-split. I originally voted Taco, then changed my vote to Flower in BFB 22. What a power move! I bet you feel real powerful right now. Do fish get thirsty? Obviously not. They live in water. Of course, this only applies to freshwater fish. Saltwater fish can't drink the water they swim in. Imagine if Nickel wasn't banned from the picnics tables. If that hadn't happened, he would probably end up in a food coma on a regular basis. What Roblox games do you play, please? I don't really play Roblox anymore, but back when I used to in like 2016, I put a decent amount of time into Retail Tycoon and a couple other games that I don't really remember the names of. And that's all 50 of the responses that I randomly selected. I may do this again sometime in the future. In the meantime, subscribe with notifications on so you don't miss any future videos, and I'll see you next time.